What's up, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Fancast Live podcast. As you can see, my boy Jamie Hollywood Barrett is back on with me to talk some New York Rangers playoff hockey. It has been a tremendously great couple of days, Jamie. How you
Oh
been,
yeah.
man? Are you happy with this 2-0 Rangers lead so far in this series against the New Jersey Devils?
It's been a great week, and this is a team, and just great to be here again, John Carlo, talking Rangers hockey. If we just take a step back really quickly, last year in this position, with a very successful season we had, overachieving as that 2 seed, the New York Rangers, they fell behind significantly against the Penguins, and that was a team that had a lot more experience than we did. And you know, playoffs, having big runs in the Stanley Cup is not just about how you start. It's really like how you. It's not just how you start, but it's how you kind of play and manage your team, like over the first couple of series, so that when you do get to the long end of the run, you're not exhausted. We just got killed the first half of Pittsburgh last year and had to crawl all the way back. I did not expect this season or this series. You called it as 7 games. I had 6. I did not expect the Rangers to come out and absolutely dominate and almost humiliate the New Jersey Devils the first 2 games. I mean, this is as embarrassing and as humiliating and ass kicking that the Rangers have given. They have not won playoff games, and we knock on wood here for everybody out there. They've not had back-to-back 4-goal wins since. You already know the year. I'm not even going to say it. So a team that finished ahead of us in the standings, that beat us and embarrassed us during the regular season at times, it's almost as if they don't even belong on the ice with us right now. And it's the type of hockey that you want to play in the playoffs. Good goaltending, managing the puck, being opportunistic, killing penalties, scoring on the power play, and your acquisitions at the deadline coming through in big moments, taking over the game. Can't ask for a better start, dude.
Yeah, definitely not, dude. We did the pod last week, and I said
Yep.
I was shitting my pants going into the series because of the fact that the Devils, I just felt, were just slightly better than the Rangers, even though the Rangers went out and got themselves some acquisitions at the deadline or even before the deadline with Tarasenko to upgrade the top 6 at least heading into the playoff run. And I still felt that with the Rangers finishing third, and I don't know if you expected it, but I never expected the Rangers to finish third in this division. Coming off the ECF loss to the Lightning last year, I just felt like the Rangers were ready to take the next step and win the division this year.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't quite do that. The Hurricanes, the Rangers got off to a slow start. We spoke about that in the
Yep.
last pod. And that's probably what ultimately didn't allow the Rangers to win this division this year because of that slow start. But the Devils, after a not so successful season last year, come out and dominate the way they did with the talent, the young talent that they have. So going into the series, I was like a little iffy because they did beat us in the season series, 1-2-1, 1-3 if you want to look at it that way. But I just felt like my feeling is a team going into the postseason, into the playoffs, the team that goes in hot
Yep.
is the team that usually is going to go deep. And the Rangers, I'm not going to say they weren't doing well going into the playoffs, but they weren't, extremely good. They were okay. They finished with what, 7-3, I think, the
Yeah.
last 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. I would take that any day, but I just didn't feel like they were going into the playoffs hot. And then they go into this series and they take that quick 2-0 lead, the Tarasenko goal, 4 minutes and 58 seconds into the first period, and then Kreider adds his 8 minutes and 30 seconds, a little more than 4 minutes after that.
Yep.
And it's quickly 2-0. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck was I scared about? I mean, the Rangers came out flying. I have never seen the Rangers come out flying in the first period like they did in game 1 of this series. They came out pretty good in game 2 as well. But the fact is, I this was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
I expected much closer games. I expected single, double, triple overtimes in the first
Mhm.
two games, and we didn't see any of that. And I'm very happy about that too, because quite honestly, the Rangers have dominated in almost every aspect of the game. The Devils just don't have an answer for the Rangers' dominance in the offensive zone
No.
right now.
They definitely don't. All phenomenal points, you know. And one of the things that we talked about too before the series started was I really like the Rangers starting on the road. The Devils were so tight. You know, the Devils got an early power play. They didn't even sniff a good opportunity, and that got the Rangers going. You know, to start the series and to go back to game one, we'll kind of do the chronology here through the first two games. You know, the Rangers, all they needed to do was get through the first, 5-10 minutes of the game unscathed. But that playoff experience, you could just tell it was a different feel. The Rangers last year were tight on home ice. They lost to Pittsburgh convincingly. They didn't have it. Shesterkin was handling the puck too much. There was a lot of turnovers. Pucks were bouncing off the boards in between people's skates. Everything was going by everybody. The Rangers seemed in control from the opening faceoff. I remember a 2-on-1 break going into the zone. Trocheck got an opportunity. The Rangers got really good looks early, and the Devils just could not get any sustained forecheck. Back in the regular season, the Devils would bring everybody out of the zone, bring everybody back in waves. Similar to how Carolina plays, just coming in waves, going off a transition. And every time the Devils are trying to skate in the zone, they're skating into a wall. There's always a forward back at the blue line waiting, and there's just no room for the Devils to skate. And I think another thing we discussed was the size of the Rangers defensemen beating on some of the Devils players. Shear has been quiet. Timo Meier has been quiet. Jack Hughes has been, I think he's played phenomenal, but he's only one guy. And the depth of the Devils is being exposed because we're rolling four lines. That kid line does not get tired, and it's just relentless stick checking and pressure that the Rangers are executing right now. And I think the only question mark that fans coming in, and we discussed this off the air, I am not a fan of Rangers Twitter. I'm a diehard Rangers fan. Do not like Rangers Twitter at all. Getting on Patrick Kane, getting on these guys, well, I think we put that to bed in game two. It's
We
good
can
to see.
certainly hope so, because there was a lot of negativity
Oh, it's bad.
on Twitter as far as Patrick Kane is concerned, and then he comes out and scores a goal and adds two more assists in game
Yeah,
two to
dominant.
shut the critics up really, really, really
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
So it was nice to see that. And I tell you, the Patrick Kane goal in game two and the Ryan Lindgren goal in game one, to me, are probably the two prettiest goals the Rangers have scored in this series thus far.
I would have to agree with that so far. And going back to game one, too, the Kreider tip in front, he's had two back-to-back 2-goal games on power play tips in his office. Remember during the year, everyone said all the tips weren't going in and 36 goals isn't 52, but it doesn't matter. What matters is right now.
Right.
And I think if the Rangers finished number one and everyone was chasing them, maybe they wouldn't be as tight and as on point as they are now. I think the Rangers, toward the end of the season, I think they knew in the locker room that they had something special, and they just said, you know what? We saw Lindgren get hurt. We saw some guys get knocked up. Listen, we're going to play hard, but we're not going to empty the tank. We're going to play four lines. Gallant did a much better job this year of rolling four lines going into the playoffs. Now, the Rangers weren't as hot as they were last year, but they beat the teams they were supposed to beat. They knew where they were in the standings, and they knew their matchup. And you got to credit Gallant for making sure his players were comfortable, were healthy, and ready to contribute. And, I credit Drury, too, for signing Hedel and having that security for him. So, Shesterkin, we always thought the team has to be. Shesterkin was really the one that had to be getting hot. And what can you say about Shesterkin? I mean, he's made very complicated and difficult saves look very easy. The only goals he's let up was a penalty shot against Jack Hughes, which you can't fault him on that.
Right.
And then there was a scramble in front on I think it was a power play goal.
And
Where
I tell you, the Devils had some pretty good
they did.
opportunities in game one. I mean, Shostarkin just shut them down. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't Shostarkin, it was the Rangers defense getting in front of a shot, blocking it, or even Shostarkin was putting his stick in the passing lane.
Yep.
He did it on a few occasions. There was one, I forget who the player was. There was a Devils player to on the right by the right circle who was coming in. I believe it was on a Devils power play.
Yep.
I tell you, if Shostarkin doesn't put his stick down, that puck gets through, and that's probably going in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And at that time, I think it was 2-0 still, and they would have made the game 2-1. That
Right.
was huge, huge, huge right there. I tell you, then it was a goal by Alexei Lafreniere,
The
the
tip
tip in
that was
with
high.
the
Yeah.
high stick. We both agreed that that was a good call.
Right.
It shouldn't have counted. And but what? Less than a minute later, the
Ryan
Ryan
Lindgren.
Lindgren
That
comes
was
in,
so pretty to
scores.
watch.
Oh man, that was so awesome because I tell you, as much as we knew that that goal should have been disallowed, it would have been so nice to get a 3-0 lead at that
Right.
point. But then Ryan Lindgren comes in, makes it 3-0, and we're feeling really good about this game,
That
and
was so amazing.
we're feeling really good about our chances of winning game one.
Yep.
But I tell you, it was an all around good, solid performance by every player on the ice.
Yep.
Starting with Shostarkin, you know, Chris Kreider with the 2 power play goals in game one, 2 more in game two. Tarasenko, getting things started in game one.
Yep.
Patrick Kane quieting the critics in game two. Hedel got the empty netter. You got Kako who scored a nice
That was a
goal as well.
beautiful goal.
Now
That's
we're,
a high
we're
skilled goal. So from
yes,
playing as I
absolutely.
have, when
Yeah,
you
and
get
now
a
we're
puck,
waiting.
yeah,
And now we're waiting on Alexei Lafreniere. We thought he had his goal, but he didn't.
yeah.
And we're waiting for him to score. That was the one player I had said to look out for in this series. I mean, although he's been quiet on the scorecard, he's been playing pretty good.
And that line too is such an important line because they don't get the power play minutes, they don't get all the glory, but they buy into the team system. And Alexei Lafreniere is taking the body, he's battling for pucks, he's keeping pucks in the zone, and they support the puck so well. Kako, Hedel, and Lafreniere are the best 5-on-5 line we've had in the series so far, and that doesn't take away anything from the other guys.
I totally agree,
But,
man.
5-on-5, they've had the puck in the other team's zone and they can't do anything about it. And defensively, they're breaking up passes. There's no room for anybody, and it's such a matchup advantage against the Devils' third line, which they don't have a third line or a fourth line, and they're exhausting their resources on the top 2 lines to get any offense. And their power play, because they're using their top guys so much, they got nothing left. And the Rangers just throw Goodrow out there or Mott or anybody. And one of that beautiful back and forth with Fox and Lindgren, you had the Devils, defense on that sequence running around, chasing guys, completely missing the play. It's almost like Fox and Lindgren are playing pond hockey catch, and they were back to the Devils. Just it was humiliating. And Vanacek is on that post, and he just gets roofed on by Ryan Lindgren. He had 1 goal in the regular season, 1. And it took the life out of the building. The life just left the building because Lafreniere's goal did not count. It was a great deflection, and you figure the Devils might get some momentum from this. And when they didn't, that was over. I think the fans knew it was over. And then listen, Trouba, even on that Jack Hughes penalty shot or that opportunity, Trouba got a good lick in on him. And, listen, it was the 4-1 goal meant absolutely nothing. I mean, it wasn't that made it 2-1 to get them back into it. It was a useless goal. The crowd knew it. And, with the empty netter by Hedel right after that, we go to the exits.
Yeah, that
And
pretty
then we
much
move
put the
on.
exclamation point on the game.
And then
You would have liked to have seen Shostarkin get that shutout though. I
for
would
sure.
really would have loved it.
For
I'm
sure.
sorry, I cut you off. Go
No,
ahead,
it's
bro.
okay. But then you're going into game 2, the consensus, all right, Devils are going to have a push. They're going to obviously get back to their transition game. They're going to give the Rangers hell and tie the series. And that is what the consensus was in NHL minds. And from the outset of game 2, it was almost like Patrick Kane was like, you know what, this is going to be, this is when I show what I can do. Because going into game 2 now, from the opening faceoff, like they said on the telecast, that first shot Patrick Kane had when he went through the center of the ice from Panarin and he took that shot through the screen, goalie fought it off. I'm like, that had some steam on it. I mean, he was absolutely buzzing. Get me your thoughts. We talked about Kane a little bit. Give me your thoughts on Kane from a Ranger fan perspective, what you were seeing, man.
He was all over the ice. He was playing offense. He was playing defense. He was making some good passes. He was doing all the things that you expected a veteran like Patrick Kane do on the ice. I mean, he was a true leader. He just exemplified perfection in that game. I couldn't have been happier for Patrick Kane after the shit that he got on Twitter from most Ranger fans. So I'm very happy that he had that kind of performance. Let's talk about the New York Rangers special teams, because their special teams, both the penalty kill and the power play, have been phenomenal in this series. The Rangers were what, 2 for 3 in game 1, I think, and they were 2 for 7 in game 2, so they're 4 for 10 in the series. That's 40%. Their season average was 24.3%. So that goes to show you how good this New York Rangers offense has been, specifically on the power play, and how good they've been defensively on the penalty kill, because they've just completely shut down the Devils. The Devils have been allowed one power play goal in the series so far. The other goal coming on the penalty shot.
Yeah.
So the Devils really haven't had the chance to put the puck in the back of the net. They've had their opportunities, they just haven't capitalized on them. So talk about, what you've seen on New York Rangers power play and their penalty kill that you think has been so successful for them.
Yeah, no, it's a huge difference, and I think there's a couple of things. The Rangers, with their personnel and with the deadline acquisitions, we one of the things we said was fresher bodies on the power play units, because in the regular season, a lot of guys were able to maybe take a minute off here and there to get the other unit on. The challenge that we saw was Patrick Kane being on the unit with Panarin and Gallant having to deal with the fact that maybe there were too many cross ice passes. And that was the concern against this Devil team. I did not see in the first 2 games, maybe they try to get fancy tonight. You never know. But the first 2 games, I didn't see one mismanaged cross ice pass from Panarin to Kane. They did not force it. Instead, Panarin would cross behind him. They would, kind of reverse.
Right.
They would pass it to the corner to Kreider, back to Zibanejad in the bumper. They would run it around with Fox. And what Patrick Kane has been able to do so well is he's almost like an Adam Fox in how he can thread the needle, just get a hard, just right on the knee, right on Kreider's hip, right in his golden zone, right? He is getting that puck on edge, through skates, through sticks, through bodies, and right into the area where Kreider can hit it. And he does that just as good as Adam Fox can do it. So now you have Adam Fox that can do that. That's his threat of a shot. And now Kane is also a threat with a shot. So when you have a lot of these threats and Zibanejad is still lurking, people are going to get open. And I think Gallant has done a tremendous job in saying, hey, this is my personnel. This is how we're going to be successful. And the Rangers have found something now with Kane and Panarin on the unit, because it used to be the cross ice passes of Zibanejad, and that might be open tonight. That may be open, but the Rangers are not a one-trick pony anymore where everyone knows it's going to Zibanejad and players can get the cross ice pass. There's a little bit more versatility. And I think you got to credit Gallant and credit the guys on the unit, saying, hey, like Zibanejad might not get the pretty one-timer, but you know what? That's what I appreciate about him, is that other guys are going to get involved. We want to win. And this has been a winning formula power play. So those are the big things on the power play I've seen. And on the penalty kill, look, the Devils just stink on the power play right now. I'm sorry. I mean, they didn't get a shot on net until the second game or like later they didn't have a shot on the power play for the first 4 or 5 that they had in the series.
Right.
And that's embarrassing on home ice. They're in all sorts of trouble with their units. They have no confidence right now. The Devils are doing hope plays, which is basically you get the puck, you throw it to an area and hope it hits off a skate or something. I've seen way too many hope plays from them. The Rangers are in their heads right now. I would like to see less penalties taken. But last game in game 2, there was a lot of calls. I mean, there was a lot of power plays, some ticky-tack calls, and the Rangers were able to take advantage of it. And now the
Yeah,
Devils are
I
not going
agree.
to
I
take
think the
chances.
refs need to let them play a little bit more.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
there were too many
For
petty
sure.
calls on stupid things that usually don't get called during the
On
playoffs.
both
But
teams. On
yeah,
both
yeah,
teams.
no, I agree. No, it wasn't just on the Rangers or just the Devils. It was on both teams. I definitely agree. They need to let them play a little bit more.
Yep.
So in game 2, the Devils took a 1-0 lead, and they took that lead into the first intermission. How are you feeling about that 1-0 lead going into the second period? Because the way I looked at it, it was like, that the Rangers had their opportunity. They could have
Yeah.
easily scored and tied that game going into the first intermission, but they didn't do it. They come out in the second period with a vengeance.
Yep.
Like I never seen the Rangers come out like that. They just went after the puck, and before you knew it, they had 3 goals on the board, a 3-1 lead, and I
Yep.
was feeling really good about it because going into the intermission, I didn't think the Rangers played bad at all in the first period. I
No,
think
me
they
neither.
had their opportunities. They just didn't capitalize on them. They could have easily had a 1-1 tie going into the intermission. They could have easily been up 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is how they came out in the second period and how they went from that point until the end of the game, dominating the Devils in every aspect of the game once again, and just building on that lead and just continued to build on that lead. And it just the Devils just they were you if the cameras were on their bench, they look all confused.
Oh, they haven't
They looked
experienced
so
anything like it this
confused. They
year.
had no idea what just hit them. They didn't know what to do. They had no answers for anything. And that's not the team that I watched during the
No.
course of the season because I watched quite a few Devils games. It's just not the same team right now.
No,
But
not at all.
as I said, the hot team usually goes deep. And right now the Rangers are hot. They've got a 2-0 lead. Tonight they play game 3 at Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be
Oh
electrifying
my God.
at MSG tonight. And nothing more would make me happier than go up 3-0
Oh yeah.
and put the Devils' backs against the wall going into game 4. But if they get a split at MSG in the next 2 games, the Rangers will still be up 3-1. The Devils' backs will still be up against the wall, and they have great opportunity to finish this series early.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to go back to your other point, listen, after the first period, I was not phased at all. And if the Devils had took the first game, it's probably a different feel. But the Rangers outplayed the Devils in the first period for the most part. I mean, yeah, they had a goal, they kind of snuck through, but the Devils needed that so badly, but it just didn't feel the Rangers just controlled the puck too much. Devils are still getting blocks, turning it over. The Rangers got brilliant chances. Tarasenko and Trocheck had really, really good chances in the first period, right in the slot. And I'm saying to myself, keep knocking. It's going to happen. And I got to credit Tarasenko because he set the table both games. I mean, someone has to score first. And there's always that collective sigh of relief, and you can loosen up a little bit when, especially on the road, when you get that first goal. Tarasenko provided that. I mean, he was able to. He's another one that when he shoots the puck, it's going through skates and bodies, and it's going in the back of the net. And Tarasenko, has provided a shot first mentality to that second unit with Panarin, and that's why I think they've done so well. 5-on-5 to generate offense. And he's done it all, the physical play as well that these guys are using. So it was just, and once the Rangers got cooking offensively, the wind got out of their sails. And then toward the end of the game, I mean, I don't think I've heard this take anywhere. I mean, everybody was ejected from the game. I mean, just real quickly, I've never seen anything like it. The refereeing in the second game was bad. There was someone got hit in the back of the head with a little cross check or here and there, stuff that is not worthy of a penalty if it's not too egregious.
What really started that was a play in the corner. when I looked at the replay and I rewinded it back because I wanted to take a look to see what the hell exactly just happened because I had just missed it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I rewinded it, and it looks like that Adam Fox is going in the corner to battle for the puck.
Yep.
And
I
I
saw that.
forget who it is on the Devils. I think it was Heishier or
I don't know if it was Miles Wood or somebody. I don't know.
it might have been it could have been Meyer.
Okay.
They came in and cross-checked Adam Fox, who then the momentum takes him forward, and he puts his stick in the back of the Devils player who's in the corner.
Yeah.
And then, like, all shit breaks loose because they think that Adam Fox just cross-checked the player in the corner. So now, the referees are just sending everybody to the box. And then I think it was like just a little more than 6 minutes left at that point.
Yeah.
They just started sending everybody off the ice because they thought
you
that,
can't do that.
all hell was going to break loose.
You can't do that in a playoff game. That is a bad look for the league. Now, listen, the game was out of hand. I understand that. Kako put it in 5-1 toward the end too, but you can I think there was 7 or 8 guys on the bench and 5 guys on the ice. So I think 4 or 5 guys from each team are out. So to me, that's unacceptable officiating. I mean, you want to have control of the game. It is a playoff game, but it's not like, the Islanders Bruins, or it's not like one of these old time series where there was like bench clearing brawls. It really wasn't that bad. There was some fisticuffs and pushing behind the play, but there was no, besides Schneider getting into the fight, there really wasn't much going on.
That was a pretty good fight.
It was a good fight. And Schneider Schneider can throw him with the best of them. McLeod's a little bit bigger, but Schneider's a tough kid. Schneider didn't want to fight. It's a 4-1 game. He wants to get out, unscathed, and he's got to take one of their guys. But I was saying to my buddy at the bar I was sitting with, I'm like, dude, where was this the first period? Because you guys are getting embarrassed and now you guys want to throw hands. And I understand the refs that you want to control the game, but you're throwing everybody out. Off the ice. There's 6 minutes left. We got to play a game. It's not like
he gave all those players game misconduct.
Yeah, but with like 7 minutes left, so like you can't give the viewer, John Carlo, 7 minutes of that in a playoff game. You can't do it. I understand if it's 2 minutes to go, a minute and a half, I understand that. If it's 1 or 2 guys, you offset the penalty. But they threw like 4 guys out from each team. They were sending guys out like early dismissal. It's just you can't do it. With 7 minutes left in a playoff game on national TV, you can't do that. So I think that I don't believe that can happen again. I don't know who the crew is tonight, but that was really bad officiating. There was makeup calls all over the place. And listen, sometimes in hockey, refs, there's a trip. It's a little dicey. It's a little Then if there's an interference the other way, they'll call it to make up the game. And that's fine. But there was so many just not like weak calls for both teams. And it kind of disrupted. Now it favored us because we got power play goals, but it also slowed the game down a little bit, which favored us too, I guess. But you don't want to see that happen. You want to see hard-nosed playoff hockey. And then you also want to see the egregious hooks and you want to see that called. But there was a lot of ticky-tack, weak calls that were made in response to other calls that you're saying to yourself on the replay, that I didn't see much. And I don't want the series to kind of have that, to keep doing that. So I'm hoping that they let these guys play tonight. If you're the Devils, obviously we're diehard Ranger fans. I would expect the Devils to try to get into some sort of fisticuff in the beginning because they've been physically nowhere to be found this series. You got to figure they're going to try to do something to get Shesterkin off his game, or they got to do something. And to me, that would indicate if I was a coach, Lindy Ruff was a hard-nosed coach. He coached Buffalo for years. They were a tough team. So I would expect that someone is going to throw hands in the first, or there's going to be something happening in the first period for the Devils.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. In the first 5 minutes of the game, I'm sure something's going to go down, whether it's going to be a fight or it's going to be somebody who throws their body into Shesterkin to get him off his game and get him pissed off. I'm sure Lindy Ruff has got something under his belt planned out for this game to get the Rangers off their hot streak right now. But now going into Game 3, the Rangers obviously leading 2-0. They want to take a 3-0 lead going into Game 4. They want to put this series away, like right here, right now, at home, in front of their own crowd.
Yeah.
What do you think the Rangers have to do, if anything, that they have? Is there anything they have to change in Game 3 in order to take the 3-0 lead, go into Game 4 for the final blow?
What the universe tends to align and come to earth. The Rangers 2-5-1 wins on the road, dominant performance. They played loose and fast and precise. Now you come home. The Garden's going to be rocking. 1-1, a lot more pressure. And maybe you're a little more hyper focused. It's not that the Rangers, I think, could be a little bit lackadaisical, but when you're home and the Garden is rocking, and it's Kane's first time in the Garden, and you still got some other new guys. It's a different experience. What you don't want to see is the Rangers getting a little tight, want to make the perfect play. They're not playing loose like they were in New Jersey, and then the Devils playing with nothing to lose, coming in and getting a 1-2 goal lead early. I think that's the one concern. I think the Rangers have to channel. They want to win this game 20-0. I mean, they want to run the Devils out of their building, fuck off, go back to Newark. They want them gone. And you want to run a team out of a building so bad, you're almost running past the puck. You skate, you overskate, you don't focus on the guy behind you. You're not as locked in on the fundamentals and the details. So I think it's going to be about channeling those overly, those emotionally charged moments. Because this is what the season has come to. Like, you are at the place where you want to be in front of your home fans. The great thing on the Rangers right now is they have a commanding 2-0 lead, and they're playing with a much better goalie. So it's going to be important for Shesterkin to be sharp early. Make a nice glove save. You know how he likes to showboat, getting the fans involved. I think the Rangers are in very good position to win this game tonight, based on just how they look on the ice. I mean, if you just look at, the back and forth that we've seen, the Rangers have controlled play the whole series. So, but I think it's going to be the emotions. That's the only thing that's going to stop the Rangers tonight, is being at home and trying to do too much and try to score 3 goals on every shift, when a good shift is not letting up a goal and, getting some good shots. I think that's what they just have to compartmentalize in the game. That's really the only thing that'll stop them.
Yeah. I mean, coming into this game, into the series Tuesday night in Game 1, most people who favored the Rangers to win this series was basing that just on experience alone. Why people were asked why do you think the Rangers are going to win this series? Well, based on experience alone, we just feel like the Rangers are going to win. And I think that showed in Games 1 and 2 of the series so far, that the Rangers' depth and experience, playoff experience, has really been the difference in the series against the Devils thus far. And in Game 3, it must be more of the same, because if they don't, like you just mentioned, if they get off their game just by a slight bit, by not covering this one guy in front of the net, or not, playing defense, or not being in good position, the Devils are going to take advantage of that. And before you know it, the Rangers could, easily be down 1-0. And then before you know it, could be down 2-0.
Respect your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. You're up 2-0. Respect your opponent. Good point right there, Jamie. And you just got to continue to play very well on the power play. You're dominating on the power play. You're dominating on the penalty kill. Continue to do that. But in order to avoid being on the penalty kill, just be more disciplined. Stop putting yourself in the box. Stop giving the Devils the opportunity and the chance to make you pay for it. And although it has, the Rangers have done well enough to keep them off the board on the on their power play, the more you not the more you play discipline, the less time you'll be in the box, and the less you have to worry about them scoring on the power play.
Mhm.
So I think special teams is going to continue being key for the Rangers. It has to be, and of course, Shesterkin has to continue
Yeah.
playing extremely well. He was hot going into this series. He's still hot. He's allowed only 2 goals, and he's just been phenomenal. And he's just the Vizina winning goaltender we saw last year,
Yeah.
right here in the first round of the series against the Devils.
I agree. And it's if you think of the law of averages and being a sports fan for a long time, this has 3-2 tight, dicey, scary game written all over it. If you it to assume and think the Rangers are going to win 5-1 again, I think it's foolish as a sports fan. We have seen over the years in any sport, in any series, this team won 109 points, I think, or 112. They listen, they're there for a reason, and they are going to play fast and loose. And guess who has the best road record in the NHL? It's the Devils.
Mm-hmm.
And they play a transition game that takes advantage of other teams playing on their home ice, where they're a little feeling themselves. Now the Rangers have veterans, and they're going to play great, but this Devils team is going to be desperate. They're going to be fast. And Shesterkin, look, he's been very, very good this series, but everyone is due at some point to come down to the mean. And I just think it's very foolish to think that this is going to be another blowout game. I think this is going to be a nail-biting, intense, tight game, may go to overtime. I would not be surprised. 4-3, 3-2. This is going to be close. This is going to be a close one because you can't. It doesn't happen. You don't have the Devils. The Devils could pick us off. Listen, I respect this team, and I know that Devils fans are probably in the dumps and they're upset. Listen, this is not how the world of sports works. I mean, you got to show up. You got to get to the rink. You got to go out and execute. And to think that the Devils are not going to score more than a goal in 3 straight games, I think is insane. I think if you actually think that'll happen, I think you're nuts. And listen, that's the attitude you have to go in with, because if we do, great. But if you think that they're not going to, then I promise you that they will. So I think
Yeah,
it's a lot of psychology here for the Rangers and getting in the right frame of mind. And I think the kid line tonight, again, is going to have to be our most important line, taking advantage of the bottom 6, because I think it's going to be tight. And I think your boy Lafreniere, I think he comes through tonight with a big goal. I think Fox gets on the board maybe tonight. It's going to be. I think this is going to be tight. I think it's going to be real close tonight. Really do.
I tell you made a pretty good point earlier on in regard to the power play, and we spoke about how Kreider has been dominating with that tip in, and he's got 4 goals on the power play that way. The Devils probably expected a lot more of Zibanejad during those power plays. Maybe we'll see some of Zibanejad tonight on the power play with that slapper
Yeah.
beating
Vanacek. Yeah.
Vanacek on maybe more than one occasion. At least we hope. But definitely the Rangers are going to change something up as far as the power play is concerned to try to mix things up, because obviously now they're expecting that puck to get down low to Kreider
Yeah.
for a tip in. And it's certainly beaten them 4 times on the
Right.
power play thus far. I mean, if it's not, if it's working, don't change anything.
Right.
But the Devils are probably going to do a better job of protecting the front of their net.
Their defense is slow. Hamilton is a very good, but he's a big body defenseman. Ryan Graves, he's not having a good series. Severson, Marino, these guys are not having a good series. I would be shocked if Luke Hughes isn't on the ice tonight. He was our first round pick last year, Jack Hughes' brother. He played over at Michigan. They lost in the Frozen Four. He had a very impressive start. I think it would be insane to not bring that kid up for tonight. The Devils need something different. And if you're telling me, if you're Lindy Ruff and you're putting in Brendan Smith and you're not giving this kid Luke Hughes a shot, I would be shocked if Luke Hughes doesn't get a look tonight. Now, they may not do it because maybe they think the stage is too big, but I think it's the opposite. I think they have to bring him in tonight. So I don't know if he's eligible to come in. I think he should be, but that would not surprise me. You're going to see Mikola back in the lineup. I think he deserves to be in. I don't think Harp any changes on the Rangers aspect. I mean, I just, dude, everything lines up tonight in the history of our sports watching it to be a tight, real close game tonight. I just can't see. Now, I will be the first person. Listen, I want to be wrong, but to think that the Rangers are going to just win this game 5-1 again, I think is just not paying attention to the history and of this rivalry. I think. Listen, the Rangers aren't going to get every bounce. Not every puck's going to go through. The Rangers are due to have some bad luck against us too. I mean, the Devils can get a lucky goal or two tonight. I mean, listen, things come down to earth at some point, and that's what we're going to go up against tonight is the hockey gods coming down to earth, and the Rangers are going to have to battle some storms tonight. I think it's going to be very close. I don't know what you think the score is going to be. I'm thinking 3-2. I think the Rangers do win in the end, but I think it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see a 1-goal game here. Look, the Rangers can't go into Game 3 assuming that a 2-0 lead is safe. No lead is safe. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but the Rangers last year did it on 2 occasions. They were down 3-1 to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they came back and won that series. They were down 2-0 and 3-2 to Carolina. They came back and won. So can't assume that the Devils can't win the next 2 and go back home tied at 2-2. So the Rangers really need to tighten up their game, make sure that the Devils' transition game doesn't beat you at home. They've done pretty good with that thus far in the series. But the Devils are still the Devils. Regardless of whether they're 2-0 or 0-2 in this series, their transition game is still, bar none, one of the best in hockey. So you have to respect it, and you gotta come out and defend that.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's gonna start with the captain Trouba with being responsible defensively. The Rangers have done a really good job of clearing the zone and sending a guy out. And the Devils are flying guys out. The Rangers have done a good job of kind of looping back in, waiting.
Right.
We'll see what adjustments Lindy Ruff does because they have had no forecheck at all. So the Devils may be fast and loose tonight. Does that mean the Rangers will have more 2-on-1s? Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of situations that can happen. But I think the Rangers with Kane, Tarasenko, and the leadership group from the last year's run, I think they're going to be able to withstand the ups and downs because I think the Rangers are due for some bad luck. A goal off a shin pad, a tipped in off a defenseman's skate. The Rangers, something's going to happen tonight. The Rangers are not going to just have it easy tonight. There's things the Rangers have had. They've earned their luck, but it's just we are due for a nail biter tonight. And listen, I think with the Rangers crowd, I think they're going to be absolutely electric. And I can't wait for 8:00. It's going to be a good one tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think there's any changes in the Rangers lineup tonight. I haven't seen any, so it's pretty much going to be the same, same forwards and the same defensemen. Who do you think has been the best performer on the ice thus far for the Rangers in 2 games?
Best performer. It's a good question. I mean, Shesterkin's got to be up there. He's a goalie, but I really like him, the way he's challenged the shooters. He's handled the puck behind the net. I think he's got to be an easy candidate. I do like Trouba's play a lot. He's been very solid on the back end defensively. I love Barclay Goodrow, man. I mean, he is as important to this team as anybody, blocking shots. I mean,
he's doing all the
everything. He
things
does
that
everything.
you need a player to do on the ice. Block shots, take the body, take someone down. He's done it all. I mean, you've heard Goudreau's name. In the first 2 games of this series, you've heard Goudreau's name
all the time. He deserves
quite a lot.
He deserves a goal. He will take the beating in the zone when the Rangers are up by 3 goals and the other team's trying to start shit. He's going to take the rabbit punches, get up and take a beating. He blocks shots, plays on the fourth line, plays on the kill. When his name is called, he goes out there and he's a professional and he makes things happen. And Mott's done a very nice job too. I think Zibanejad has been very underrated in terms of, his defensive play. I think he's one of the best defensive centers in the league.
He showed it in game 2, that's for sure.
It's hard to say because it's been such a team effort. It's been hard. I would say Patrick Kane was exceptional in game 2. He would be my performer for game 2. That individual effort for that goal, that was just will. I mean, he's my size, and he made a very creative maneuver to move his stick from one side of the player to the other so quick, like a lacrosse move, and he stole it right from him. And, I mean, from a really good player, Jesper Bratt, and then he takes it from the defenseman, and then to have the poise, he easily could have passed to Kreider. The whole rink on that 2-on-1 was like, he's going to pass to Kreider. It's going to be a hat trick try. But he knew in this game, I need to put this game away. That's a 40% chance that puck goes in. I got this. I'm going to put it in. I mean, that is a professional Stanley Cup winning play in a moment in the game where he had to put it away.
But he clearly set up Vanacek on that play because
100%.
he had the puck one way, and then he comes in and puts it top shelf with his backhand.
He was expecting the pass to Kreider. It never came, so he was standing up. And the quick hand, that was exceptional. So I would say game 2 would be Kane. If I had to say game 1, Tarasenko played great. I can't even give it to anybody. I'll let you take that one, but that's the thing about these Rangers wins. You can't pick one guy.
Yeah, you
there's
can't.
so many guys contributing.
Listen, Kreider's got 4 power play goals.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's he passed Roger Bear on the Rangers all-time goal list.
Yep.
As far as playoff goals are concerned, Tarasenko had his 42nd in 91 games. I mean, you got plenty of guys on this team right now who have so much playoff experience, and like I said earlier, the experience is what a lot of people expected the Rangers to get them past the Devils in this series, and so far that's been the case.
Yeah.
And there's no other reason other than the experience alone is why the Rangers are winning this series and possibly taking a 3-0 lead heading into Game 4 at MSG and putting the nail in the coffin against the Devils.
Yeah. The nail in the coffin that's a tough one to get in there. But it's going to be electric at the Garden. And any prediction on goal scorers tonight? We'll see how close we can get today.
I think Trocheck is going to get on the score sheet. I think he's he's
been due. Yeah,
he's been really good. That's the aspect of the game that the Rangers really needed to improve on this season was the faceoff, and he's done that. I can't say the same for everybody else on his team that's a center, but he's done his job. I can see him getting on the score sheet tonight. We could see more of Kreider tonight, but I'm expecting Zibanejad to get a power play goal tonight on that slapper. Yep. I want to see that pretty slapper.
So do I.
You can see Keandre Miller, might put one in the back of the net. I mean, he's talented enough to shoot the puck from the back, from the blue line and get it in. Trouba can get in on the score sheet. Dude, there's so much talent on this team. The goals can come from anywhere, and that's the great thing about this team, that you don't have to rely on one or two particular people in this lineup to get you goals. Anybody can score.
Yeah,
even your fourth liners can score. That's how good the Rangers are right now, and that's why the experience is so key. And I'm a lot more confident going into Game 3 than I was going into Game 1.
Oh,
that's for damn sure.
For sure, it's a good position to be in, but it's a confidence. But you also the job's not finished. I think the Rangers are going to hold that true. I think that we got Zibanejad. I think he's going to put one in tonight. He deserves. He's playing such good hockey. I also think that I could see Goodrow get one tonight, and I could see Lafreniere get one in tonight. And I don't know, will the Rangers score 4 goals tonight? If that happens, I maybe
Vanacek hasn't been very good.
has not been good.
He
And
has
I was
not been very
talking to my
good. So
buddy
I can
about it.
definitely see 3 or 4, even 4 goals
They're
going
gonna pull
tonight.
Vanacek if it's like a couple two goals at the end of the first 10 minutes, or if it's 3, they're gonna pull him. I think they should. I think I don't know if he's gonna start tonight. I really don't. They need a drastic. Now, if I'm the coach, I'm Lindy Ruff. There's gonna be a fight in the first 5 minutes. Shesterkin's gonna get bumped one way or the other, or snow plowed or something. Kane is gonna. There's got to be some sort of calamity and chaos in the first 10 minutes to disrupt.
Well, it looks like
the
they're
order.
making the goalie change already. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I think Mackenzie Blackwood going to start.
No, it's Akira Schmid.
Oh, Schmidt. Yeah. So that's one change. Listen, the Rangers have not faced him, I don't think, this season. That will definitely get the Devils a little bit stiffer on the ice. Like, they're going to probably play a little tighter.
Yeah, no shit.
But you know what? Like, that's a wild card. We don't know how he's going to do. You never know what you're going to run into.
I could definitely have seen the scenario where if he would have struggled tonight, that I would have saw a goalie change. But to go into Game 3 with Schmidt,
hey, Schmitty, guess what? You're going into MSG down 2-zip to the Rangers. Not easy.
No, hell no.
But
no
there's
way.
also an element of being loose. Like, I got nothing to lose. I mean, so you don't know how they're going to feel. Vanacek has to. I mean, I think it's smart. You got lit up. You got lit up 9 goals. I mean, so 9 goals in 2 games is not good enough. Sorry. And I know that, the second, the Kreider deflections were impossible. One of them you maybe take. The Lindgren goal you might want back on a bad angle. So, we'll see how Schmidt does. I mean, who knows? He's a backup for a reason. Maybe he's not that good, but, we don't know with these. Any goal that can come in. We saw Ranta last year did okay for Carolina. You had Louis Domingue in there last year for the Pens. Rangers able to take advantage of him. So, and that'll definitely be interesting. But I'm not surprised at the goalie change.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I don't know, dude. You got to change things up. You have to. You can't do the same thing every day and think it's going to work. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I don't think you would start with your goaltender. I think you would start with your lines. Make some changes on the lines. I think you already did that for Game 2. Not that it really worked, because, quite honestly, another 5-1 win for the Rangers.
Yeah.
So it really didn't make a difference. But I mean, I haven't seen this kid Schmidt play. I didn't even know he was on the Devils. I thought that it was the other kid that you just said. What was his name? Blackwood?
Yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah. Where the hell is he? Is he hurt?
He was a highly touted prospect for them and started games last year, but I guess they fell out of favor. He was, I guess he never really materialized, which is interesting. But hey, it's going to be rocking tonight. It's going to be rocking tonight, brother. It's going to be a scene. It's going to be an absolute zoo.
What do you think of the other series in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah,
Have you been watching?
the Tampa-Toronto series is so interesting because the first game, Tampa won 7-3. And first of all, if there's any fans worse than Ranger fans, it's Toronto Maple Leafs. That's it.
No. There's nobody worse than Toronto Maple Leafs fans,
right.
dude.
So that's why we're always going to be number 2. And if they didn't exist, we'd be 1. But they are. That is a level of cynicism and anger that you just do not see from anybody else. I mean, dude, it is morbid. They haven't won a series in 20 years and a cup since 65, and they're a good team, and they
very good team.
Get after the first one. They have superstars on that lineup. Now, they keep missing on goaltending and defense. The 7-3 loss at home ice was bad, but then they whooped them 6-1 or 7-2 yesterday.
7-2.
So we've seen this, Giancarlo, in the past in playoff series where back and forth, big numbers, back and forth. It's happened more than one occasion. But going into Tampa, this is what you think about Tampa. They have been on so many runs deep in the playoffs, like Pittsburgh has in the past, like the Capitals. It's just you run out of gas. And it's like, how many more runs does Stamkos have in him? I mean, he's only 32, but he's played so much playoff hockey. He's been in 4 Stanley Cup finals.
Yep.
Kucherov has been in a lot of Stanley Cup finals. He's been injured a lot. Braden Point, he's been out in and out. The loss of Ryan McDonough is a big loss. They let him go to Nashville, salary cap. They had to let him go. That's a big loss. And I understand Sergachev and Chernak, and they have other good players, but they're not as good as McDonough. Hedman's had to carry a lot of the load, and they just don't have the defensive depth that they have in the past. Vasilevsky has been human this year. Not a great season for Vasilevsky. Not bad, but he certainly hasn't been all world.
Right.
So, and Tampa, listen, when you go to the Cup final 3 years in a row, and then you're always in the playoffs, it's a lot of wear and tear. And they have that third line that they had with Goodrow, Coleman, and Yanni Gourde was a big part of their Stanley Cups, a few years ago. They do not have the depth that they had in the past. And I think a team like Toronto, I think this is the year that Toronto breaks through. After game 1, you'd probably say no chance, but I can see the Toronto Maple Leafs winning the series. I just think Tampa's just running into a little bit of a wall. I just don't think, how much more can they go through in the playoffs? They're due to lose.
I think age has got something to do with that.
Could be.
I mean, good Lord, a lot of these players are way in their 30s. I mean,
Yeah. And they've been
the good
injured
question
on and
is,
off.
when are they going to run out of gas? I mean, these guys it's like a dynasty in Tampa.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable how good they've been for so many years, and they just don't want to, they don't want to take their foot off the gas.
They don't go away. They have a lot of really good grinding playoff players. Nick Paul. They have, they traded a lot to get Tanner Janot, who I don't think he's that great, but they traded a lot. They don't have any assets. There's no young kids coming up for them to kind of, help them out. It's really just them, and the pressure's on them. And I think McDonough's a huge underrated loss. And I just don't think, because they can't pay everybody, because they had to get rid of a lot of their depth guys over the years, their top guys are asked to do a lot. And I just think, as good as Tampa Bay is, and they are a dynasty still, Toronto can't lose every year forever. I mean, they're too good. They need to win. Their window's closing. They have Tavares, Mitch Marner, Nylander, Matthews. These guys are elite offensive players, elite in their prime. And there's a ton of pressure on them.
Yeah, but Toronto's problem also has been goaltending.
It's always been, they signed Matt Murray. He can't stop a puck.
It's always been goaltending. I think goaltending has been a major issue for Toronto for a very, very long time. Yeah. And no matter how good your offense and defense is,
right,
if you don't have the goaltending, you're not going to get past teams like Tampa Bay in the first round.
No. And that's the challenge. They always play Tampa. They get stuck in that division.
They always play these tough teams in the first round. It's just, but you know what? That's the way
so do we.
The NHL has really set up the league to play. I mean,
you got to win.
I don't want to face the Devils in the first round. I don't want to face the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round.
Toronto had a 3-1 lead against the Montreal Canadiens in the bubble year in that easy Canadian division. They blew it.
Yep.
They've lost 3-1 to the Boston Bruins. They've lost 3-1 to, I think, Tampa before, and they lost last year or 2 years ago to Montreal. So Toronto, I think they do need a new coach, but Toronto's lineup is too talented, too young. They're too skilled. They score. They're too good, and I think Tampa is going to have some problems now. Who knows? You're going back to Tampa. It's going to be a very tough, long series, and that's what I like about let these teams duke it out. Florida, they're only down 2-1 to Boston. Boston has Patrice Bergeron out and David Krejci out. So those are your top 2 centers out. So now you have Charlie Coyle playing the first line, and Florida is a very tough and physical team. I think they can give teams some problems. Their issue is goaltending as well. But I think Florida is going to give, Florida can split at 2-2. that is so good for teams like, listen, the Rangers, we don't want to think too far ahead, right? But hypothetically here, that is the two teams I was worried about is New Jersey and Boston. If Boston can get picked off or if they can be weathered and beaten, and then older players as dynamic as now that team has more experience than anybody, but they're older. So if
A
they can
lot
get beat
older.
up, there's a path. And the Rangers, listen, the Carolina Islander series has been a joke. That is off. They are bad. They're not good. The Carolina Hurricanes, they stink. They're three of their top six forwards are out. Pacioretty out for the year. Svechnikov out for the year. They lost Teravainen. He broke his hand. It's done. They got their goal. The games are going to be 2-1 snooze fest. The rest of the
And yet the Islanders haven't been able to take advantage of that.
yeah, but they
I
won
mean, they win
night.
last night. They win last night, but the series was 2-0 going into last night.
Right.
So, I mean, there's no excuse why the Islanders haven't made this series a
They're
lot
not
closer
that
than
good.
it is.
The Islanders, they have they have a couple of good players. Bo Horvat, Barzal, and Anders Lee. But that's a second line on the Rangers. That's a second line on a Stanley Cup winning team. That's their first. They don't have the depth. They have gritty guys. They have a good fourth line, but they don't have any scoring. And Lou Lamoriello, you got to sign more guys. He didn't do it. This is not the Islanders' year. I think that the Islanders are a very well-structured team. They play well together, but they're not as talented. They can't play with the Rangers, I don't think they'd beat the Devils. So again, if we take care of business tonight, we are looking very good because a lot of these other teams are going to be on these strung out series, beat up, and they're not as good, and that's what you want. If we can go into the third round or that late stage and we don't have a lot of games under our belt, that's just going to make us more fresh and ready to go.
Dude, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. That's why now with this 2-0 lead, you want to just put the Devils away and just go ahead and rest and wait for the next opponent, which is probably most likely going to be Carolina.
And Carolina, they're going to
and Carolina is not very good. And as
they're
you
not.
just as you just pointed out, half the team is injured, and quite honestly, I don't give them a chance in hell against the Rangers. Again, we don't want to think too far ahead.
Exactly. No, but that's something that you think about in the back of your mind as a fan. It's like there is a path, and you're rooting for Florida right now. I mean, if you can win one more game at home and take it back to Boston, 2-2. I mean, you pressure some of their veteran guys to get back in. Maybe they get back in too soon. You never know. There's a lot of pressure on Boston. They have no picks next 3 years, and a lot of their veteran guys. This is it for them. This could be the last season for some of these guys.
Absolutely.
So, we'll see how it shakes out. But listen, we got to worry about 8:00 tonight at the Garden. This is what we did. This is why we're here.
Where are you watching the game?
I'm going to watch it here. I'm at the house right now. My son, he had a lacrosse game today. Did very well.
Nice.
Couple of pretty goals and assists. And then we got hockey tomorrow over in New Jersey. So he's got like a mini kind of tournament. He's going to play against a bunch of other teams. And we're looking forward to that. And
very nice.
We'll put a bow on the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Brazen tonight. I'll be watching from the door.
The door.
But
remember Saving Private Ryan? He had that when he's trying to look around the wall, he has that mirror. You got to get one of those. You can look at the screen behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I can always watch it on my phone, but there's really no chance of doing that.
You can't keep your eyes off on Mamaroneck Avenue, brother.
No, definitely not. So, so with the Rangers up 2-0, they go into this game. It's an hour and a half till freaking puck drop. I'm gonna make a prediction here. I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be 5 goals for the Rangers, but I think it's gonna probably be 4. I would say probably 4-3 Rangers. I really hope that no game in this series goes to overtime. I just want the Rangers to win out in regulation. Just get it over with, go home, rest up for the next game, and with the Devils' backs against the wall, just put it away. I think the Rangers win tonight, 4-3, in regulation.
I like 3-2 in regulation tonight. I just think that I think the Devils maybe hop out to a cheap 1-0 lead on a lucky bounce off a shin pad, and then it's a little tight for a while, and then the Rangers come on in the third, and I think the Devils try to flurry late. The Rangers hold on, so I'm going to put 3-2 again. I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope it's 5-1, but I'm going to go 3-2 Rangers in regulation, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the Rangers have come out pretty well in each one of these games so far in this series, so I expect nothing less than a strong start and a strong finish. Just be disciplined. Don't turn the puck over. Don't allow the Devils transition game to get you, because if you do, it's going to be a long game.
Oh, for sure.
Jamie, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Let's go Rangers.
Let's go, baby.
I'll talk to you soon. Hey, we're going to do some New York Giants draft hopefully in the coming week if we
Yeah.
get a chance, because the draft is coming up, bro.
Got to do our
So,
homework.
Do
We'll
your
see what we're
homework,
looking
and
at.
we'll get together and chit-chat about the New York Giants draft.
You bet, my man.
Till the next time, bro.
Peace.
Peace out. Later.